We're going to take a look at some of the disturbing videos on the internet from around the internet past few days and today. And this one will be the Palantir stuff. Weird things surrounding what is being said to be attacked cloud seeding, weather modification in the Middle East. Interesting story there. Of course, Mr. Gates just won't leave anybody alone. And then we'll start this off with a little bit of a kind of an update on what's being said about David Wilcock. I think a good comment left by somebody who I follow on X. We'll get into that. So we'll start this off. This was posted in regards to David Wilcock.
Is this why they murdered David Wilcock? I mean, why he committed suicide?
The DS is very, very adamantly fighting to prevent you from learning about extraterrestrials. That's the last thing they want you to know about. They want you to be afraid. They want you to see them as gods, to see them as authority figures. The last thing they want is for you to understand there's a higher power that answers Christianity, answers Islam, answers Buddhism, answers Hinduism. It pays off all of these ancient teachings that we've inherited that often become religions.
The deep state doesn't want you to know the truth about extraterrestrials and aliens, but the president of the United States in February said that he's directing all agencies to release all of those related files, and then all of these UFO researchers and scientists end up. You have to wonder if the information you're going to be getting is not all of it. Kind of like some other files. Now, no one's really around to tell you otherwise. As always, let me know what you think about...
I'll tell you what I think. It's pretty obvious that David Wilcock was not gone after for being a UFO researcher. We've got guys from the military who are leaking classified information. Bob Lazar talking about classified military installations, secret programs. I mean, one of the most classified topics in the history of the world, or in the history of the United States. And then he's just completely free. David Wilcock's been talking about this stuff forever. This guy posted an interesting thing that I completely agree with on X here. He says, yeah, Wilcock also claimed to be the reincarnation of a 20th century psychic. He denied the deity of Jesus Christ, which we just heard. He said the answer to the whole UFO stuff that's coming is the answer to Christianity, to Buddhism, to Islam, this completely false one world, new age type of, we all follow the same God, satanic lie. He said that the white people are the result of extraterrestrial genetic engineering and made several predictions that never happened. That's absolutely true. He thinks also that he was contacting the Archangel Michael on a regular basis. He was a new age occultist with serious mental health issues. If he was taken out, it wasn't to hide his work because it's truth. On the contrary, it was to draw attention to his work because it's pure deception. That is absolutely the case. When it comes to David Wilcock, he was a new age occultist with serious mental health issues. I don't believe he was taken out. When you follow doctrines of demons and people are surprised that he did what he did, and they're saying all these other things, like because he was a UFO researcher, he didn't break any stories or claim to have any secret classified information or anything. There's no reason for them to go after him when we have people like Stephen Greer, Chris Bledsoe, Bob Lazar, these guys. Like, seriously, the government doesn't go after these guys who have all this top secret classified information, but they go after David Wilcock? No. David Wilcock obviously was listening to demons on multiple different levels. So what is Satan? He's in control of demons. What do we know that Satan does? He comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. No wonder that somebody who's listening to demons 24/7 would do such a thing. I'm saddened by it, but that I believe is fully what happened. If for some very odd reason they leave people who are actually disclosing supposedly, I mean, I don't believe these people anyway, which is why I say that. But like Stephen Greer, Bob Lazar, all these guys who are like always in contact with the deep state, and they know they've been insiders and they're leaking classified military black sites and stuff. Like, yeah, they let those guys go, but not David Wilcock. No, if they actually did take him out for some reason, like this guy said here, very great point. It wasn't because of the truth that he was saying. It was because they want to bring more attention to his work, which is doctrines of demons, antichrist, occult beliefs. There's the David Wilcock thing. I 100% believe that. let's listen to a couple videos here in relation to climate stuff. I'm actually going to go live on my main channel here tonight, probably long stream over there right after this one. Sorry to hear you didn't get a notification. That's annoying. That happens. Very annoying. You could reselect on the bell all notifications if you want all. Maybe there. I don't know why they do that. Let's listen to a few things in relation to the climate, look at some weather modification stuff, and then end off with a Palantir thing.
24 years from now, the world could...
I mean, you guys, I'm sure, know who this is. This is Al Gore, the guy who said by 2009 the ice sheets and the glaciers would be completely melted by 2009. They obviously miscalculated big time by that. Well, I'm going to get way into in-depth detail about this on my main channel tonight, about how they're going to use the climate stuff for the end times control mechanisms. They're already doing it, but just wanted to look into a couple things he said here, which we do, and we love the people of the world, but we do not say, okay, let's just break the laws of our nation and allow all these people who literally say they don't want to assimilate and they want to cut our heads off and chase our women with clubs. Let's let them in. No, our faith does not say that we have to.
Years.
Just like Breitbart News said here, here's the problem. Here's the reaction. The solution is the end of self-governance. They've been pushing this climate stuff forever in the capacity for them to completely take over and complete domination. That is their goal. 100% takeover of the world, political systems, economic systems, abilities to travel, what you eat, complete control. That is their goal. It's been the goal of every tyrant from the beginning of the world, and it's no different now. And they see now the easiest way to get people on board with that will be through lying about the climate. And I don't even know if necessarily, even with, well, they've buried themselves badly with their whole climate stuff that they've come up with and their own science. They've really made a massive mistake, and they just did completely miscalculated, and they could never have done it because it was God confusing their plans. Even with their own science, their own year spans of how old the earth is, these old ice ages and all this stuff, even with that science, they've completely buried themselves with, they just have no capacity and no ground to stand on. So they're just going to hammer it into people's heads that they need to control you because of the climate. When in reality, when you just even look at the history of it, like we're not even close to the hottest we've ever been. And even in the recent little ice age that was not that long ago, it looks like the ice in Antarctica that's melting now at both of the poles grew around that time period. So they've just completely made a massive mistake on that whole thing. But it's something that we got to watch them on, because they're going to be pushing it for complete control. And that may even be how the Antichrist system takes over, or at least part of it. I mean, they're trying to figure out any way possible. It's really part of Agenda 2030. Well, Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 is part of it. We'll go more into that later tonight, but this kind of all fits in. This is getting to net zero. Let's listen to what Bill has to say, because he's always involved, and take a notice how he's laughing and everything is just so funny. I don't know what's so funny to this guy all the time.
Have to play a central role, both funding R&D and having policies. In some cases, carbon taxes will be used to drive the demand for these clean products. And only by doing that in an aggressive way will the economic costs be brought down enough that we can turn to all the middle income countries and say, okay, change your whole cement industry, change your whole steel industry, and yet, it's not holding you back from, your economic growth. The number of companies working on these things is very exciting. And some of them will fail. A lot of them will fail. But,
it's so odd how he laughs. He laughs like something's about to be funny, like very funny. Like, it's not, what he's saying is never funny. He's talking about children getting vaccinated around the world. We need to get to net zero because the earth is going to die from the stuff. And he always finds it so funny. What is so funny with this guy? It's because it's like a dominance duper's delight. He knows what's going on. He's just doing these plans against the peasants. This is exactly what it is. That's why he's always laughing about this stuff.
We only need a reasonable number, a few dozen of them, to make it through. And that's what we have to accelerate. Human ingenuity is great. We create the right incentive system, get the private sector companies engaged in this in a deep way. That's what the solution looks like. One of the hardest things mankind has ever done, but worth doing.
Worth doing because, he gains to take a lot of money off of it. And let's just take a listen to what he has to say back when, 2020 was going on. Because that's what they're going to try to do, the same type of speech with the climate stuff. The climate is fully on their agenda. They admit it. That is 100% what they're aiming for through their control mechanisms and to take over the population and to change everything.
But you don't have a choice. People act like you have a choice.
You don't have a choice.
People don't feel like going to the stadium when they might get infected. It's not the government who's saying, okay, just ignore this disease. And, people are deeply affected by seeing these deaths, by knowing they could be part of the transmission chain. And, old people, their parents, their grandparents could be affected by this.
Funny.
And so you don't get to say, ignore what's going on here. There will be the ability, particularly in rich countries, to open up if things are done well over the next few months. But for the world at large, normalcy only returns when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population. Normalcy only.
So for somebody who knew, because at this point, even just the average person knew, the survival rate was like 97% or something insane, or like 99.7. It was something insane. It was a massive survival rate. People were passing out from getting the shots. The guy who invented mRNA said that it was way too sped up. People should not be doing it. There was evidence that it was harming people negatively. And then this is what's so funny about that for him. Because he knew that for sure. Now,
normalcy only returns when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population. And so
when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population with something we know is bad for them, people are having negative health effects from it. There's a massive survival rate anyway. You don't even need it. And that's what's so funny to Bill Gates. That guy is sick. All right. I found this interesting. I'll read through this because he's speaking in some other language. Let's see. This is a theory going around. Let's see. Israel and the United States, who claim to have the capability, who have been hostile towards us, have been doing this gradually for the past 40 years. I say this with confidence because you can see in satellite images how the clouds shift from their course. I don't care how many people say that this is normal. I say it's not. While Lake Van in Turkey is full of water, Lake Ermaya in Iran is not. What do these satellite images show? The clouds that come from the Mediterranean and should enter our country gradually drift toward Turkey and move towards Azerbaijan and Armenia. So that's what he's claiming. And I just want to show an interesting little map here. Map of the world satellite. Let's take a look at this because this is kind of interesting, actually, when you think about it. Let's take a look at this picture, this map of the world right here. What do we notice about this map? And what is going on in this section of the world here? All right, let me move this out of the way. There's something interesting that you notice here. What is going on all right here, where Islam is the most prominent? It's a desert. It's a desert. There's actually a specific prayer in Islam that they pray, where they pray for rain, for Allah to send rain. What a coincidence that this whole part of the world where Islam is the most prevalent gets no rain. Now, of course, some people come out and say, well, what about this area in Africa? It's the Congo. It gets so much rain. Like, okay, yeah, we get that there's always one-offs. But when you look at a whole, at this area as a whole, Pretty interesting that the place where they're always calling on a demon to give them rain is like a desert. I find that interesting. All right, so this guy's claiming that America and Israel have been blocking their clouds. I don't know. It could be that they're praying to a demon to give them rain. Supposedly, Iran bombed the cloud seeding radars in the United Arab Emirates, and suddenly the temperature shifted by 5 degrees in Tehran, which is unheard of, and it's now raining and snowing. So this is what they're saying. They're saying that they attacked these radar installations that have been keeping the rain from them for many years. Same thing here. Breaking. Iran destroys U.S. radars in Gulf states and the weather suddenly changes. Iran was literally facing a 10-year drought. And now it's suddenly snowing in Iran in April. I kind of looked into it. There was really no obvious evidence that there were, of course, they're not going to be admitting to these types of radars that are blocking weather from going into Iran. It's just this is kind of going around on the internet. Supposedly around this time, here we go. Iran faces a drought. For decades, no rain, not an inch after they attacked the rain seeding installations. In Arab countries, their drought ended in 5 days. Not out of the realm of possibility. And just like with the whole Al Gore thing, they could be first. Guess what they could do there too? I wouldn't put it past these people to be doing things to causing the climate to be even hotter so they can move forward with their agendas of creating climate refugees, climate immigrants, which they've been talking about for years, actually. Oh, for decades, at least a decade, probably 2 at this point. And I wouldn't put it past them for them to mess with the weather to keep it hotter for that reason. You couldn't put it past these people at all. I mean, when they're laughing about injecting the global population with an experimental shot that the dude who made that type of shot said that it was a bad idea, wouldn't be that hard to think that they would manipulate the weather. Melania Trump is teaming up with Palantir, OpenAI and others to usher children into digital surveillance.
I am proud that America's best technology companies, including Meta, Palantir, OpenAI, Adobe, Zoom Communications, X, and Microsoft, had the chance to advance our mission to empower children with technology and education. And
Palantir, Microsoft, all these people now working in a lot of different areas, teaching the children of America and control. I mean, crazy stuff. It really is. I'm about to go live on my main channel, guys. This is kind of a preview. I wanted to post these few things here, though, and also say to pray for Tracy, please, for she has pancreatitis and wants prayers. And so I just pray in Jesus' name that she will be healed and will find relief. And if you guys would join me in that prayer, calling on Jesus to bring healing to Tracy, that would be great. Going to go live on my main channel, Sling and Stone, here very soon, probably within 10 minutes or so. Hope to see you guys there.